And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson. We are going to be discussing more free agency news, reactions, Cooper Kupp, Kirk Cousins, Micah Parsons causing drama, all that coming up and more. But Sean, can you share with a word from our friends over at Bet Online? By the way, we got coming up later at the very end of the show, Hack of the Week. Sean is the Hack of the Week for what I tweeted about him. You are a bad omen for a lot of reasons. We're going to get into it.
Well, Bet Online, that's where you want to be placing all your sports wagers on the college basketball season whenever Alex Ovechkin breaks the all-time goals record.
No one cares.
Every UFC matchup, every bet. If you want to bet whether Seattle's going to be in a 4-3 or a 3-4, and if you want to bet if anyone gives a damn about their front lineup, go to Bet Online. I'm sure they'll have a line for you there. Every three-pointer, every hat trick, Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Wish I'd seen that every win at some point this weekend, but it is what it is. We move forward to March. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Sean, the Dallas Cowboys are a joke once again because Micah Parsons and Demarcus Lawrence decided to have at it on Twitter on Thursday night. If you missed this, Demarcus Lawrence was doing an interview after he signed with the Seattle Seahawks. He left the Cowboys. He's at the end of his career. It's kind of expected. It's time for him to move on. It's time for him to get a little bit more, see if he can have a little success elsewhere. He'll just be a veteran pass rusher that's probably not going to produce very much, which is what you get with a guy who's in his mid-30s as a defensive end. In the quote in the interview that went viral, he said, "Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there." Micah Parsons quote tweeted him by saying that this is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown shit. And Demarcus Lawrence completely smoked his ass. Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. Sean, I look, I'm on Demarcus Lawrence's side here. One, he won this whole exchange. I hope they didn't text each other after. I hope that this is blood boiling. I like the fact that we've got a little bit of hate going on. We don't have enough of this. We have too many guys going on podcasts and interviewing one another. I want more shit talking on these podcasts. Can't wait for the Micah Parsons show this week, though. I'm really curious what he's going to have to say. But my whole point with all of this, all we see are these clips from Micah Parsons talking about anything and everything, and they stink, and they haven't won or put together or strung together consistent success, and he's getting pissed off at a guy who spent his entire career in Dallas and didn't win a Super Bowl, and he's moving on. Who cares, Micah? Just shut up and go to practice. Just get better. Help the team get better.
Here's the thing. Micah's right, and this is unfortunate because I don't side with Micah Parsons in a lot of times. I don't like the player podcast stuff. I just think it's almost beneath them to do player podcasts because they're such freak athletes.
Do it after you retire. I don't mean to cut you off. Please do it because it creates such unnecessary attention because everyone wants to hear what you have to say after a game, and nothing you say is going to go completely unscathed because the companies producing these things are going to clip you and then pull those clips in order to generate engagement. So you're falling into a trap that you've created for yourself.
Of course. Now, this whole beef is weird because everyone seems to be right and everyone seems to be a winner in it. Demarcus Lawrence, winner, getting out of the dumpster fire that is Dallas. Micah Parsons and the Cowboys, possibly winners. Don't have to deal with Demarcus Lawrence on the Cowboys anymore, underproducing and taking up a bunch of money from the team. Is Demarcus Lawrence right that he wasn't going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas? Yes. Is Micah right that Demarcus Lawrence is crocodile tears, envy, and kind of salty about it? Yes. Here is why I lean Micah Parsons is because Demarcus Lawrence was one of the guys that actually got paid by Dallas to become an impact player and to usher them into a great age with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. He was supposed to be the defensive captain champion along with Leighton Vander Esch and Trayvon Diggs. And those two other guys didn't pan out. Lawrence had to shoulder the whole burden. Micah Parsons comes in. It's his show now. So I think there's a little bit of resentment from Lawrence on this side. And Micah's sitting here, yeah, bro, you weren't good enough to be the real anchor of the defense. You leave and then you trash Dallas when you underperformed after getting the big contract. Like that's where I lean Micah, even though Demarcus Lawrence is right in his entire sentiment with it.
Yes.
But I lean Micah because I think in the NFL, you protect the shield, you protect the guys that you went to war with on the team, no matter how good or disastrously bad, like Dallas has been.
If your team is embarrassing, you shouldn't be chirping.
Yes.
You have every right to be criticized, even by former teammates of yours. I understand what you're saying, that like you should always stick up for your guys. You should always go to war for your teammates. You shouldn't just let somebody who dipped and left to be negative about your future.
That's our job.
And you're capable. Yeah, that's our job to be
what
negative.
we do.
Right. You act against any sentiment like that. But at the same time, when your team's ass and your team missed the playoffs last year, and they've been more of a rodeo than they've actually been like a good, competent, consistent football team, it's been a circus.
Yeah.
Don't say anything, because you're not going to come out the winner in this situation. You're only going to come out making yourself look stupider. You might be right about how Micah has a reason to respond and that Micah is next up to get paid, and Demarcus Lawrence was paid and didn't really exactly produce. But Demarcus Lawrence is correct here.
Yes.
Micah Parsons talks all this game, and he's great on the field. He's absolutely great on the field. But when the surrounding group is shit, and he's not wrong there, Micah needs to confront Jerry, if anything.
Yeah, go to the top. Don't go to the guys that are, fading away into irrelevancy. And by the way, I love this. I hope that my tone isn't putting out that I don't love. I want guys arguing with each other.
Yeah.
I want it to be
that's
blood
true.
sport and violent and competitive, and you're leaving and I don't like you anymore. I like when other teams don't like other teams, because did you ever like other teams that we played against? Yeah, I'm sure
No.
you had friends that played on other teams. We didn't like them. Why would they? Why would we? Everyone's talking shit the whole time. It's competitive. It is a mean sport. So the buddy podcast world for football players rubs me the wrong way. What's Micah even going to say? He's going to say exactly what he tweeted. He's going to say, I'm past that. It's corny. He's on his own wave now. Like, goodbye to him. We're just focused on, he's going to coach Speak It. Like, so I'm not that enthused about what's going to come down the pike this upcoming week with his comments from his show. Like, I'd be fired up if he stoked the flames. Go ahead, get everyone going again. But I don't think he'll do it. He's going to try to be the mature, I'm taking the high ground. He's going to go to Seattle and get 2 sacks type of guy. Like that's what
he's going to get. More than 2 sacks. I think he's going to be a little bit more. Well, it just depends on if he's healthy. He's been inconsistently healthy. Let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
Does Micah Parsons or Demarcus Lawrence get a Super Bowl first?
Oh, good Lord.
I'm talking. So, okay, for the remainder of Demarcus Lawrence's, let me rephrase that. Who has the better chance in the next 4 years? That's probably the end of Demarcus Lawrence's career. I think he signed a 3-year contract. I forget exactly what it was. Which of the two teams has the higher percent chance would you dish out to win a Super Bowl? I think it's Seattle. Because we see the current roster building. Mm-hmm. We see the current improper team building approach by Jerry Jones. The only way that it suddenly gets better is if he abruptly dies. And I don't even have a lot of faith, because it's going to be one of those situations where the kids are more incompetent than the dad. And we see all the time where John Mara is a good example of this. And I know John Mara has helped lead to multiple Super Bowls, but his father and the original Mara ownership was where the real consistent success was. You pass it down to your spoiled kids. They don't know anything about building something up and doing it with an attention to detail. They're going through the motions. I think that Seattle has shown that they're already being aggressive. What has Dallas done that's aggressive? They signed Miles Sanders the other day.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That is, but
2 banged up running backs. They have Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders in a historically good running back class here. Like, what the shit are they doing?
They're going nowhere, and they're going nowhere fast, which
Dante Fowler, they also signed him.
God, I want to pick Dallas here. I want to, but I can't. How could I? How could I pick Dallas to win the Super Bowl before Seattle? Even if Seattle has a terrible year, I still think they have upwards momentum. Dallas's ceiling is 10 wins. Their floor is 6 wins. and they're going to stay right in that pocket and be so mediocre for the next 4 years. Seattle may just get lucky. Like Dallas does so poorly in the offseason and just managing who they want to sign and their general direction that they don't even put themselves in an opportunity to get lucky. Like, even if they got lucky, it wouldn't change their whole franchise and turn it around. Seattle kind of has the bones for that. They at least have a shot. God, I hate Dallas. I hate what they do. I hate their construction. It's awful. Why are they bringing in old banged up running backs when everyone just wants them to draft a running back?
Their whole free agency approach has been nuts, and I don't think that their cap situation's like really that bad or anything. They're not. I'm going to check that in a second, but they could have been aggressive. They have plenty of money to spend from an ownership standpoint, and they've been aggressive in the past. It just feels like one of those teams where you see them like in week 5, and you're kind of squinting your eyes and you're going, they don't really have anyone. They kind of got a bunch of names, but not really a lot of dudes. Like a lot of guys that were once good. It kind of reminds me. It's not a direct comparison, but I don't know why the first thing that popped in my head is when the Atlanta Falcons had Steven Jackson and Osu Miura, and you're kind of
some of us were fired up for that offseason. I was pumped.
Some people that were idiots were fired up about that, but like everyone else was kind of like, I don't know. You're kind of forcing this one.
What is
here.
that pull? Why are you pulling that up on me?
But it's like the best example of where it's this collection of names where you're going, yeah, I know who that guy is, and he was good at one point, but I just don't know if right now is when he's going to produce his best work.
Yeah, there are teams that do that. Like the Raiders had an off season where they brought in Jordy Nelson and a bunch of other,
that was a bad
2012 legends. I'm like, God, this is a lot of big names, but they are too late in their career to be that impactful. Yeah, no, Dallas doesn't win one before Seattle wins another. I'd be floored if I saw that. And Seattle also making pretty big moves this offseason.
Yes. Well, we're going to get to the big move that they have. My last kind of final piece with this, the better head coach, Mike McDonald, last year was a mess. Because their offensive line was bad, which they still need to address. We're going to get to that in a second. Geno was not as good as he was originally. Ryan Grubb's system did not work in the NFL. There was inconsistent health from Seattle's receivers. And their defense is still like young and trying to find playmakers. Like it's still being completely reworked. On the other hand, you've got Brian Schloppenheimer over there with the Dallas Cowboys, who shouldn't even have been hired as the head coach. You don't like that one?
I just really...
Stinkin' Riley's the other one that I do. And it kind of...
No, I just wasn't expecting the hook there. I thought you were just going to jab me. But no, I love Brian Schloppenheimer. That's awesome.
Absolutely awful. We lost 2 viewers as soon as I said that.
That's how it goes.
Seattle was incredibly aggressive, though, this offseason. The Seahawks just signed Cooper Kupp on Friday. 3-year, $45 million deal. But we need to address this, Sean. Signing Cooper Kupp and bringing in Sam Darnold does not mean that this offense is completely fixed. Their offensive line badly needs to be addressed. They need somebody better than Valdez-Scantling as the third receiver in this room. They need to draft somebody. I will pause on giving any judgment on how Seattle's going to do this year until after I see how they draft. Because if they don't approach this aggressively by going after multiple early offensive linemen and mostly focusing on building their offense, I'm going to be a little cool on them because they right now still have some holes that need to be shored up.
Some would say I've been somewhat critical of Seattle when discussing another roster move that they've made this offseason, but the Cooper Kupp addition alleviates a lot of that stress that I'd been putting on the franchise as they have a true number 2 option to go outside of JSN. Cooper Kupp is... did you see Gresh running down Cooper Kupp, by the way? I was shocked that he's not a big fan. Maybe he thought he was in New England was in the sweepstakes for him.
Oh, so he's pissed about...
that was like a bit of a shocking... He was taking a shocking...
Our former boss, Andy Gresh, who's a longtime awesome on-air host. Wait, he was saying that Kupp sucks?
Yeah, he started acting like, the best wide receiver in the league. Like he was being a little over the top with it.
Okay, so he's 31 and...
He's a triple crown winner.
He's played 33 games in the last 3 years. So the concern is there. It's not for how good he is. It's the age and the lack of availability. There's not many receivers over the age of 31 that end up having great careers, careers.
Do I think that Cooper Kupp is going to play every single game for the Seattle Seahawks this year? No. Do I think he wins them 2 to 3 games alone by him being on the field? Yes, I do. And that helps Seattle immensely. It really does. Having a veteran receiver to go and help out Darnold, who, if they're going to try to replicate the system that he had in Minnesota, not even the system, but the environment that he had in Minnesota, load him up with some stars. Load him up with some absolute savvy wideouts. Cooper Kupp is that. He's not going to stretch the field. He's never been accused of stretching the field. But what he does do is he creates space. He catches the ball. He converts third downs into first downs. It helps tremendously. And if you want to have JSN be your vertical guy or sign some speedster, go do that and have some balance on the outside. Two, mid-route elite guys like Kupp and JSN together is good, but they need to keep on diversifying that offense. So they could be, we're looking at maybe close to a 50-50 run-pass split, I think, with them this year, which would help immensely.
Well, but they got to fix their offensive line before they can run the ball more. And that was they couldn't run the ball as effectively as they'd been able to in the past. They've got the dudes to do it with Charbonnet and Walker. It's just, you don't really have that interior O-line presence. It's Charles Cross, and that's it.
Yeah, they got to grind that up. They really need that help because Sam Darnold is not going to be Sam Darnold of last year if he is on his back the whole season. It's just not going to work for him. It wouldn't work for any other quarterback. There's 3 guys that can analyze pressure in the league so quickly, or they're so athletically gifted at quarterback where they can make up for poor offensive line play. Darnold is not that guy. So shore up the offensive line, and now you have a threat that could get you a realistic and reasonable 10 touchdowns this year in Cooper Kupp.
I think that there's the play style that Cooper Kupp has as he starts to get older. I don't think it's going to be like super impacted by his age because he's a great route runner. He's a possession guy. If he slows down a little bit, he's somebody who I think for these remaining 3 years could still find production. I hope that the Seahawks don't have this expectation, though, that he goes on to be their number 1 target. I think that everybody understands this is not the same guy who won the Triple Crown a couple years ago because he is, again, towards the end of his career. He's over 31 years old. It's just a quality veteran addition to a room that needed a name. It needed a quality guy. I had said this, though, and we said this on the show, that the minute that they traded Geno, we were questioning what the hell is the plan. The plan actually seems pretty good right now. It's not great. This isn't one that completely gets you where you're trying to get to, which is winning the division. That's the first step. It doesn't get you all the way there because, again, they still need better offensive line play. They still need another option. Sam Teets pointed out that they have, in the top 100, they've picked 18, 50, 52, 82, and 92. So there's plenty of opportunities within those first 5 picks to draft 2 offensive linemen, a receiver, and then address anything else on defense that they want to go over. If they don't meet that minimum that I just set there, 2 offensive linemen and 1 receiver, I'm going to be very sorely disappointed. With 5 picks, we're talking about 5.
This addition, though, I think it pushes them past San Francisco, and I think it gets them closer to the LA Rams. They're right now they're split at best with the Rams this season, but they're playing ball. They're light years ahead of Arizona. San Francisco, I think, is going to be down this year, so it's going to be a 2-team race for the NFC West this year. I think you get 2 coming out of the East, 1 or 2 coming out of probably 1 coming out of the South, 2 coming out from the North, and then you're in business. Seattle could make the playoffs this year the way it's shaping up pre-draft, and this addition definitely helps them. They're not going to be, they shouldn't be in the meat of the pack on the bubble fringe in December. Like they should have some destiny in their own control. And I think that's all you should expect and want for this team in a weird nebula rebuild season that they have.
And especially like you look at the other performances from these other teams, the Cardinals have just been a mess, and the 49ers are probably not going to return to dominance anytime soon.
I think McCaffrey's done. I think he's done.
Yeah, but I saw some people saying that they should trade him, and I kind of agree. His health is really called into question. He's not as available as he once was. I think that they totally should trade him.
It feels like the Gurley stuff, which is an awful injury situation to have. I haven't heard any news of it. Looks like it's better. It doesn't seem like it's going to be some permanent issue with his legs. Haven't seen that. So right now is the highest his market's going to be until we get some news like that come down the barrel.
All right, Sean, your boy, Kirk Cousins, is returning to the Atlanta Falcons. He's coming back. Even though after March 5th, they met with Arthur Blank, the owner, to share his desire that he wanted to play, and then Tom Pelissero reported that they plan to keep him. Now, here's an interesting wrinkle, though. This doesn't mean that he is completely locked in to stay during the season. Apparently, after the trade window, after a certain point in June, if they wait to trade him, they would then incur a much smaller dead cap hit.
Yeah.
It would go from, I think, $30 million or so to $12 million. So there's still a world that if somebody comes to the table and offers them that's desperate, that missed out on Aaron Rodgers, that missed out on Russell Wilson, and just feels like they need some sort of a veteran presence, that they could recoup some value here. I was talking to you about you yesterday on the train, and I was saying, I hate this. You're making him the highest paid backup. You're wasting all this money. You're taking up a ton of cap space. But then the more that I was reading into the way that this can be maneuvered and approached, it makes a shitload of sense. Because you're either way have a really good backup in case Michael Penix stinks or he's banged up or he's struggling, whatever it is. Yeah. I don't think that part's going to happen. But if he gets banged up, which he's had a history of doing. The other part is they can, instead of just cutting him, they can get some value for him. I mean, hell, I'd even wonder if they maybe wait until someone's really freaking desperate and it's preseason and somebody loses their starter.
I love it. I love everything about it. You have a commodity. If the original acquisition now is going to be looked back on as a mistake, and it was being called a mistake when he was first added or signed in Atlanta. People didn't love the move. They loved it even less when Atlanta drafted a rookie quarterback. I think they were doing very good due diligence by drafting a rookie quarterback last season. I love the decisions they made. And I love that we are retaining someone of value. You already sunk the money in, so I think if he had been a model citizen in Atlanta, he gets banged up in week 10, says, guys, I tried my hardest. I tried to come back from the Achilles. I thought I could give it my all. It's not working. You got this up-and-coming star at quarterback. Can I just go somewhere else, play for another 2 years? Then Atlanta would have said, sure, Kirk, thanks for being a good soldier. It didn't work out. Clean hands break up. But he didn't do that. He was deceitful. He lied. He withheld information.
It's personal vendetta
now,
that you have against
it's
Kirk
not
Cousins.
No. That is how I think they have been operating. Kirk had an opportunity to be a good guy and be outward about his plans or what was going on with him. He cost the team wins and games, and he put a bad look on Terry Fontenot, the GM, and the head coach Raheem Morris. That doesn't go. You can't just get away scot-free from that. You tank the season. You hurt the season. We missed the playoffs because of that bad skid that he had where he was secretly injured and still playing because he wanted to play selfishly. I know we laud the competitors that say, you would have to drag me off of the field, but that's if you can still perform at the top of your game, not impeding the team at the most important position. So because he put the screws to Atlanta, I think Atlanta is putting the screws to him and saying, you're not getting the easy way out, pal. You're going to be a high-value backup quarterback.
I don't think that's truly it.
It may not be, but that's how it should be recognized, at least by me.
Here's my only thing, though, that you keep bringing. You love bringing this up. You've brought this up like 4 times now that he's some piece of crap.
It's important to note that he was.
But I just don't know if that's like really what his intention was. I think that he just probably thought he could power through it, and he couldn't. He probably thought he was healthier than he actually was when he was coming off the Achilles. It's honestly dumb on the Falcons' part to pay a quarterback coming off of an Achilles injury.
It was.
Never pay any athlete coming off of an Achilles injury because they're all going to be completely incapable of moving. It's the hardest. It blows my mind that when Achilles injury happens for a player that we don't talk about the fact that they're probably done. Like O.J. Howard's a really good example of this. I remember when he blew his Achilles, the first thing that they brought up is that there's like a very small % chance that a player who suffers that returns to their normal level of play because it requires your body needs your Achilles to generate force, to generate power. Quarterback doesn't need it as much, but he was immobile. He was
immobile. He couldn't drive off the back leg. It was bad. It was, hindsight, bad signing all around. Too much trust going into a guy that old coming off of an Achilles injury. That is true. But at least Atlanta isn't saying, you ruined us and you're taking all of our money and we got nothing out of this. What did we get? A walk-off win versus Philly, Kirktober 2024. That's not enough juice for what he was paid. So if you're going to retain him and try to squeeze the assets out,
I need you to look in the mirror, though. That's the problem that I have with this, that you're blaming him for being a piece of crap for taking all this money. You shouldn't have paid him. He should have been a one-year deal.
I agree, but since we have already done that, what is the next best measure to keep the team afloat? Is it let him walk and completely damage us, or retain a very good backup quarterback if possible? He is still an asset in that he still is an asset to the team in some fashion. And even though there was a grave error made, I'd rather not be a team that just you can either accept the grave error immediately, which is what good teams like Pittsburgh do, and they move on. It would have happened already. Wipe the slate clean. Now, or you can juice it. You bought the fruit, you bit it, you didn't like it, but you could still incorporate it in another dish maybe. You can maybe throw it in a smoothie.
Throw the bad fruit away.
You could find a way.
Find some idiot who'll take it off your hands.
Find an idiot. Find some other rube to throw the fruit at.
I think you hating him has nothing to do with the strategic way to take advantage of what they have with him. I really think that they're going to wait until that deadline and then they're going to trade him.
That'd be smart too. I like it.
Letting him walk would have been the dumbest possible move, though.
I think letting him get whatever he wanted out of this and not maximizing what Atlanta could get out of it. I've seen Atlanta make moves like this previously where it's a very player friendly. They come in, serve their time, we'll help you out. Not anymore. Not playing around, haven't made the playoffs since 2017. New era, new age. Heads are going to start rolling if it's another bad season, so they have to take it seriously.
Here's my only main problem, though, with the premise of, and you seem to like this idea of making him sit and suffer as a backup.
Love it.
No, I hate that because you're wasting all of that money that could go towards adding playmakers, I know you don't really need more receivers, but continuing to boost your defense, which was the biggest problem for you last year. As Michael Penix, who's going to be fantastic in the NFL, and he showed us some bright sides, he needs a better supporting cast around him. So the money that you could be spending elsewhere is going towards a backup quarterback is kind of stupid, unless we're going to line up Kirk in the slot and we're going to ask him to run routes.
Sure, be the holder. I want him to be the holder.
That's not worth $40 million.
Well, we already paid him. Go ahead. We're getting our money's worth out of you, Kirk.
They should do the Daniel Jones and make him run and play scout team safety.
Perfect. Yeah, have him out there. Have him coaching. Be a community leader. Man up the Falcons in the community stuff. Go up to Buckhead and do grocery drives, Kirk. Be that guy. We're putting you on assignment. I love it. Remember what we were talking about the FCS playoffs this year, like Brock Osweiler was calling a game.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, if I was ESPN, I'm sending all these dickheads out to call these games. You're not getting the free ride out of here just for the big time moments. We are putting your ass to work. It is time to go. Kirk Cousins,
but you're not
going to find a job.
$40 million worth of work from him, unless he's doing your taxes or something.
It's already theft. It's already theft, and it would.
What would be $40 million worth of work? Maybe if you let him run your I don't know.
The quarterback, it's pretty worth $40 million.
There's no GM or coach who's worth $40 million.
I want him painting the fields. I want him helping with the equipment staff.
But these are minimum wage jobs that you're pitching.
Yeah. Find a way.
We need to find a $40 million job for him.
Yeah, what do you go to school for? Probably accounting or some type of business.
Yeah. Wasn't it him who was was on the booth or he wasn't in the booth. He was on the desk for a playoff game or something like that. They were giving him broadcast. I don't want to see him as a broadcaster.
Neither do I.
I think he would be a shit broadcaster. I think he's incredibly boring. And when I was interning at Sirius, he came on as a guest, and I got to listen to him between segments and then also during the segment, and he was so freaking boring. And probably one of the most boring, dry people that you could ever have. I'm tired of doing this. There are interesting and fun players that have played other positions besides quarterback that need to be given media opportunities. Not Kirk. I don't need to hear Kirk.
Like Andrew Hawkins
Matt Ryan
is good. Yeah,
no,
he can go.
No.
Matt Ryan's a stiff. I'm good with that.
Chase Daniels pushing the limit.
J.J. Watt is fine. At least he's big. At least he looks like he played football before.
He's also a little mouthy. Like, he's willing to kind of talk a little ass. He talks like a D lineman.
Yeah, he hams it up a bit. I don't mind him hamming it up. It's J.J. Watt. He's at least not a boring quarterback that just has QB brain where it's just he can only speak in his terms, and it never really makes that much sense to a casual viewer.
At least Tony Romo's a probable alcoholic and a golf addict.
He's at least making you think that he could have had a fun Saturday night before calling a Sunday game. Which, nice for me, the viewer, who is either who might have had a good Saturday night, and I'm feeling a little like Tony Romo. I get to hear myself how I would perform on the screen, listening to him raspily go through a cover 3 breakdown.
I don't know, Jim.
Should have left it 1:30. Closed it down. All right.
All right, Sean, I've got more griping to do about my New York Giants. Jordan Ronan, who covers the Giants for ESPN, reported on his podcast for ESPN that the Giants' plans to trade up are pretty much dead. They currently sit with the 3rd overall pick. They had an opportunity to pick 1st overall, and they had it secured, but they decided to dick around. Sean, I can't do this. If the Giants leave this draft, and it seems increasingly more likely than people realize, that Cam Ward's pick 1, Shedeur Sanders is pick 2. I can't go through this season with them not picking one of the 2 only viable quarterback options. There are no other options. It's dart throws or shitty players who are going to be mostly backups that we're talking ourselves into thinking that they could start or should start. Okay? There aren't any other options.
Yeah.
I can't do this shit. I can't. I saw this on Twitter today. I've been living in Wonderland off of this belief that they were being aggressive, trying to trade up. And maybe this is some ploy by Tennessee, that they're just trying to put out this info that it's dead.
Yeah.
That dipshit Joe Shane falls for it and panics. Oh, we'll give you next year's first. Maybe that's the case. But if they go through this draft cycle and there's no young player for them to turn to, I might need to pick a new team.
What? Oh,
I can't sit through another season of that shit. I can't. They had the 3rd overall pick and they can't get it. Do you every most draft classes? You have the 3rd overall pick. You can draft a fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
They can't get one. They can't.
Here, I'll ease you. Let me ease you up, okay? You're getting a little hot. All right, let me fix a quick problem for you here. You want Kirk?
I will reach
We'll give
over
you
this
Kirk.
table and I will strangle you.
Why don't
Do
you want
understand
Kirk?
that?
We'll
That's
give it-
the biggest
we'll
problem
give-
with
we'll-
all this,
We'll give
Sean.
you Kirk on a discount.
Sean, that's the biggest problem with all of this is that the options are cooked. They're done. They're off the table. So we have to grab. Like, we have to desperately grab. So Kirk Cousins probably is being considered right now. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco are the team's options. None of those guys are going to take them over the top. They're gap fillers. I can't go to 2020. The biggest problem with all this is that the window to success without having a quarterback is like 4 years.
Yeah.
They don't take a guy this year. I got to wait till the 2026 draft. Hope that they don't screw this up and they're actually picking 1st overall like they need to be doing. Hope that Malik Neighbors doesn't demand out. And then the 2026 season, I get to watch a rookie quarterback slop around and suck. And then his second season, you got to hope that they're kind of competitive, but it's more realistically year 4.
Then you're probably paying Neighbors a big lump sum by then.
That's forever from now.
Yeah.
I got to watch this shit again?
Yeah, you do. Here's what you could do. I'm starting to put together some names in my mind right now of you guys might have to
Tread lightly.
do a blockbuster trade for a starter type trade where you are giving away
We tried to do that.
this year's 3 and maybe next year's first round for like
Joe Burrow.
No, like Kyler Murray, like Trevor Lawrence.
I actually wouldn't hate
somebody
Kyler.
Tua's like
Don't.
hey.
I
This
don't
is your
want
range
Tua.
of teams that still have an undecidedly good, not good or bad, but an undecidedly true future quarterback of their team that can perform in the NFL, but hasn't really shown it yet at their current spot. So if you decided to dump everything for Kyler, I think that's a win. Trevor Lawrence, get him a new spot. It'll be.
But
the
that's not
exact
going to
same
happen right now.
result.
That's going to happen in 2026, which I guess you don't have to
Then what do you
wait
do this
for-
year? You punt? You just completely tank this year with nothing? You have to, because you started getting me at least a little bit fired up about finally the Giants make some type of play.
I think the way that I see if they're sitting at 3 and they called and pleaded with Tennessee, and they said no. And then they called and pleaded with the Browns, and they said no. And it goes Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, 1 and 2. By the way, I'd be willing to bet that those rumors about Shedeur Sanders being an ass in his interviews, I'd be willing to bet that they started in New York. I'd be willing to bet that. I have no sourcing on that, but I'd be willing to bet that. They're probably praying that he slides.
Oh, they're trying to scare,
Yeah. Who else in the top 10 has any desire to create that smoke screen? It's the Giants are the ones who have their pants down right now, and they can't pick them up.
They sure do.
So I think that the move here, I would really rather that if we're going to do this crap, that, and I by the way, I don't hate what you're pitching.
I
don't.
Like a Derek Carr? Would you make no? It's not great.
No. We would need a Matthew Stafford type of a trade when Stafford was traded from the Lions. I'm trying to think who else is like another big name quarterback who was traded and then went on to have success with his new destination.
Goodness.
Stafford's the best.
Yeah, Stafford's the most
option.
recent big one. Oh, why can't I?
But to continue my plan here to fix the Giants, if you do that in 2026, sign Slaps McGee. Don't Joe Flacco. Seriously, if you don't draft a quarterback, Joe Flacco. That's it. I don't want anybody else. I don't want to pretend that this is going to work. I don't want to pretend and get my hopes up or anybody's hopes up and have to listen to the Giants fans who are trying to make themselves feel better about the situation by saying, did you see what Russ did? Did you see what Aaron Rodgers did this weekend? We're going to be so good next year. No, I need everybody to sit and wallow and suffer this year. And I want the third overall pick to be Abdul Carter. You take Abdul Carter, you have the craziest pass rush in the NFL because you got Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then Abdul Carter. I would feel actually pretty good about myself if that ended up being the order of operations of taking Carter.
Do you guys still have Burns? Did I miss something?
Oh, we also have Brian Burns. Sorry, I'm completely forgetting this roster. I mean, who would have even remembered Brian Burns was on this team because they didn't do anything last year. They didn't do anything. It didn't matter that they traded for him. It was pointless. They didn't need to trade for him.
Yeah. What does that help for that team? You stop a team in the third quarter on third down with a big Brian Burns sack and they're up 21. Like that doesn't.
That's basically been that's been the whole defense. That's the whole defense is like, wow, what an insane play. And then you watch Daniel Jones donk around. That was what the whole bit was. But I think that's the approach. I think you maybe trade Kayvon and then you draft Abdul Carter or Mason Graham. Actually, Mason Graham's not going to fit.
I like getting your temperature check, though, of your fandom here because you have gone from, pragmatically trying to look at it to now, I don't care what you do. We're not in La La Land, though. So just give me the straight.
I've never been in La La Land.
You can't be in La La Land.
There's too many fans in La La Land. They kept trying to rationalize Daniel Jones. They used to argue with me. They used to be like, oh, how dare you accuse him of being the reason why they suck when the offensive line's so bad. Yeah, bullshit. He's awful. He's a moron.
Maybe you guys nab Purdy. And I know I joked about it last time, but I mean, maybe you
Screw
do.
You.
I'm not trolling here. Come on.
No.
I'm trying to help you.
That
We're in the
doesn't help.
war room here. I'm thinking of all quarterback options.
You named the two that make the most sense. Kyler Murray or Trevor Lawrence. Joe Burrow is a complete, utter long shot because maybe this offseason finishes really poorly and they don't have a very good season next year.
Sure.
I think that he could force his way out, but I don't.
What about if man?
Herbert ain't leaving.
Okay, I'm just checking it.
Herbert's not going anywhere.
We got to take calls in New York, Joe. We got to take calls and see what's going on.
They're going to be one of the best teams in the NFL next year. We got to be real with ourselves. They just signed Mekhi Becton.
You guys are in dire straits.
Someone pointed out, by the way, before we move on to Hack of the Week, somebody pointed out how insane it is that Mekhi Becton has to look up to talk to Joe Alt on this offensive line. That is insane.
The big ticket, one of the biggest humans the NFL has ever seen is now paired with
Joe.
I love the Joe Alt pick. Well, it's going to age like the finest of all fine wines. What a stud. That Chargers team, they're about to test patience this year because they've got the trenches, they've got the quarterback, they keep on adding pieces, they have the coach. They can't underachieve this year. By no means can they underachieve, or else we're asking real questions. Not about Harbaugh, not about the offensive line, but about If Man himself. That's where the questions are going to start coming.
If Man will get 100 chances before. God, that was another guy that we almost had. Some asshole brought up this week that the Giants were almost drafted Josh Allen. I forget who it was.
Were you guys? Did you guys have a shot?
That was the Saquon draft.
Hey, you made the right pick. He's a 2,000 a year right. He's
No,
proven
no,
that he
no,
can
no,
rush for
no,
2,000 yards.
no,
in the league.
no.
You made the right
No,
pick.
no.
You made the right pick.
No.
God.
Absolutely not.
That guy? Are you kidding me?
I would much rather have Josh Allen right now as our starting quarterback than,
I'm just
than
saying
having Saquon. Well, we don't
at
even
that
have
time
him.
with
we don't even have Saquon.
I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Asshole. All right, hack of the week, where we pull something from real life or the media where somebody was a complete and utter hack. My hack of the week is Sean Anderson.
Oh.
Sean and I were sitting at a bar on Saturday, waiting for some friends of ours to finish up brunch. We're sitting at this bar, having a drink, hanging out. We're watching the Tennessee-Auburn game. And, as any male friends would, I pointed out to Sean, we need Auburn minus 5.5. We need him to cover 5.5.
Yeah.
The normal thing to do in this situation is you look to your friend and you go, all right, hopefully Auburn wins by 6. Or, oh, I've got action on that too. Or I'll live bet this. We'll get in on this together. Okay?
Didn't I say that?
No.
Oh.
No. You turned to me, and what did you say? You turned to me with the dumbest look on your face possible. And what did you say?
I said rut-row.
You said rut-row like Scooby-Doo to me when the game was tied, when it wasn't looking good and it was bleak. That bet didn't hit, but the biggest problem is that you are the biggest jinx in the world because you don't say that to somebody when they're on a heater. You don't, which I have been. I've been hitting 70% of my college basketball bets.
You keep on throwing that big round number on there?
I keep
and I'm
well,
not
it's
sure.
probably well below 70% right now because I went 0-3 yesterday. And you know what I realized? This goes even a step further.
What?
You piece of garbage.
How is it back on me?
No, it goes a step further. I realized where I created my string of misses. I live bet UConn because your dumbass bet on them on Friday night. And I stupidly had a couple of tequila sodas, and I thought, oh, this makes it a good, good reasoning to be locked into this game and to watch this game and have a reason to root for
betting on UConn.
Without doing
roadie guy Hurley.
No.
We can root for him.
Hold on. Without doing any research or digging into the game like I've been doing for all of my other picks. That was the start because you are a bad bettor. You've always been. Whenever you steal my picks or I have a similar pick to one that you already placed, they don't hit. They don't hit. They never hit. So I started this string of poor moves because I followed you. Now I've got the Sean Anderson betting stink all over me.
That is callous. You watched me walk into that bar, hit a big Dick St. John's bet, and say, let's keep on running it in the Big East, and we bet on UConn. Come on. That was a fine, safe bet.
To that bet.
That was a fine, safe bet. We placed a little wager, and then you upped the ante. You said, I'm clearing the account. Look at me. I'm Joe DeLeone.
$45,
I'm clearing
by
the
the way.
account. And I said, oh, well, Joe cleared the account. I cleared the account. Threw 60 on it.
That was on you. Because if I said
You upped the ante
if I
and
said
said
I'm
you're
clearing the
clearing
account, you go,
accounts.
no, put 5 on this. We don't need that much energy.
You upped the energy, and now I'm getting
You
shit
needed
for rut-row.
you needed to back me down and say, no, we're getting a little too invested here. We got to just put 5 on it, and then we'll enjoy the game. That was where we went wrong. That was where you went wrong. We were not responsible for your actions.
How is this on me?
It's of course on you.
It can't possibly be on me. You could find some type of scapegoat. You could try to pin this on me.
I have a
with
goat,
your,
not a
with your
scapegoat.
rash of misses. But my rut-row did not influence the Auburn-Tennessee game. It didn't influence the vibe. So you missed a bet. Rut-row.
My dad, when I was at dinner, by the way, he hit me with when I was after 0-2 on the day. The third pick was not looking good. It was the Arizona-Houston game. And my dad, while we're sitting there at dinner, and I'm explaining the
You
bets
had Houston,
that,
right?
Yeah,
Didn't I tell you don't bet on Houston?
Shut up.
Didn't I say no?
No, I had
Houston?
Arizona, and Houston won by 6, and I needed 5.5. I needed Arizona plus 5.5. But sitting at dinner, my dad, and he realizes I'm going 0-3, and he's like, oh, you really need to stop doing this. I'm like, I can't. I do sports betting content now for the Sports Geek. And he's like, they're paying you for that? That's what my dad fucking said to me at dinner.
It's confusing. Trust me. Trying to explain that. I mean, I work in media last night at the bar. Media. Yeah, no, it's all good. Just media. Just keep it loose. I'm not getting into the specifics because a lot of it's vague.
Right.
My hack of the week, Joseph, if I may, St. Patrick's Day attire. That's my hack of the week.
Bad bit.
Because I'll just even feature my co-host on it. We'll do a double internal hack of the week. You made the team look bad on Friday night.
It was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and I wore green, and okay, I put a Notre Dame jersey on, which was a mistake.
It was an all-white jersey, and
it had green on it.
It said Irish on it, so at least you were representing, I guess, the country of origin for St. Patrick's Day. But Friday night, rolling out to the bars, I got my green on. I have 3 parts of green: hat, pants, and shoes.
Bland green, like not bland, but like faded green pants. They didn't even look that green. You were in a green hat. That wasn't. You weren't all decked out.
I don't want to be decked out. I don't like the societal pressures
do it.
of having to dress in some type of color or Halloween costume. Like, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Try to deviate from what I would normally wear. As less as possible. And you get all ginned up, saying, "All right, let's go rip it, St. Patty's Day weekend," and you roll out here in all white. You show up to a bar, no one's in green. You feel like a jerk off.
I didn't care though. I pointed it out a couple times, but it was like, it is what it is.
You weren't thrilled, and I think it made the team weaker that night. And I think that could have influenced the UConn loss. I think
that
definitely
had nothing to do with it. I wore my outfit with confidence.
Did you wear green yesterday?
I did. I wore a green shirt, and then I had a jacket on, so I was much more a little more careful.
Green a day closer to St. Patrick's Day. People wearing green is fine. But people like you that get bent out of shape if people don't want to wear green, that's where I get a little bit.
It's the Saturday of St. Patrick's Day weekend.
You're going.
Everybody's day drinking on that day. You're supposed to wear green.
Yeah, I did, but I also saw plenty of other people not wearing green, and also I didn't see their friend in their ear telling them they were a bad person.
You guys also did. The group that we were with didn't want to go to any Irish bars and wanted to go to a rooftop bar with no TVs with college basketball games on. That was a question.
We wanted to listen to good music and not the Gatling Hole or whatever it is, traditional Irish pub music. It wasn't the weekend for it for the group that we had cultivated.
Okay, fair.
So I guess in general, I'm cool with most people wearing it, but when people like you start pressuring me into changing my
Irish.
fits,
God forbid that I would like for you to recognize
then why aren't you just proud
my holiday.
Then why couldn't you just be proud and happy that you are representing your lineage?
Because I want you to be a part of it too.
You want everyone to be a part of it.
I want the respect that we deserve.
But you don't want me to be a part of it because I'm a big fat mess, and you don't want the other big fat messes to be a part of it. You want all the hot people to be a part of it. But you know what hot people do? They don't conform.
Are you saying that you're hot because you conform?
No,
is that what you're getting
at? I
am
not saying that by any means.
Sounds like you are.
But when we were at the bar, you were upset with a bunch of dorks wearing flat caps, Irish flat caps, which was way more Irish than anything you were wearing, and you were upset.
That's true.
When all the chiseled dudes and women were walking in black leather jackets and jeans. You want hot people to conform.
No. That has nothing to do with it.
It's exactly
I just
what it
didn't notice the idiots in the corner because they looked like idiots in the corner. All right, let's get to the hack bag. 201-834-4308. Call in and leave us a voicemail. We still are short on voicemails. Please freaking call. We don't have one today, do we?
Don't worry about what we got.
All right, hack bag.
The mail never stops.
This is the Hack Bag. Hit us on Twitter for questions or call at 201-834-4308.
First question, a voicemail.
All right, I'm a little delinquent here, but a couple of weeks ago, you guys were looking for the crazy roommate stories. So I will tell you about the story of my freshman year roommate who got nicknamed the Bader. Now, yes, of course, you could probably understand where this is going. Picture this. JMU, September 1998. I've just started there, and I have this roommate. He's in the band. Doesn't matter. But, he'd made some friends in the hall, so somebody comes looking for me. And I wasn't there. They come talk to me later and said, "Do you know about your roommate?" Well, come to find out, they went looking for me, and he was, as Rack may say, just cranking his hog with the door open. So that was unpleasant. One day I come home from class. He's doing the same damn thing. T-shirt on, ass out with a sock. I threw a towel at him, said, homie, you do that again, I'm probably going to punch you in the face. Go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, you can't.
2 weeks later, come back.
Okay.
Same damn thing. T-shirt and a sock. Threw a towel at him, punch him in the face. Never did it again, but he will and has always been known the baiter. There's my story. Pretty disgusting. It was annoying. Haven't talked to that dude since the day I left freshman year. So enjoy that story, guys. Hope it's fun for you.
I didn't
Have a
enjoy
great
that
show.
story, Jamie. I didn't.
You didn't enjoy the baiter?
No, that's problematic. I think it was so. I would assume that when he went to school, it's probably like an old guy's dorm. Probably. So he was cranking his hog with the door open.
Yeah,
in
got to
a mostly
take.
men's dorm.
There's a lot to break down there. I love that he has a nickname, and you properly shamed him by calling him the baiter following that.
Right.
There's more to clear up. Obviously, you had the question: did you punch him while he was cranking hog, or was it after he finished cranking hog? And then it falls into you have to be careful when you're living with roommates and it's time to crank hog. There's a
just don't do it in your bed.
Yeah,
if
it's a shared bedroom.
I wouldn't even want him to be doing it in the bath. You are cooked. I had the advantage of freshman year not having a roommate, so that never was a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to figure out their schedule. That's you got to know it to a T.
And also, at least even in college, you can't overgo full Monty butt naked. You gotta find a way to get yourself with an escape plan. Shorts around the knees. You have to have some type of way to get yourself not caught in the situation. For this gentleman to be so brash, to just be shirt on, everything else off, ass out, as the caller described him. That's a little too much. That's way too confident to not be getting caught up.
It's insanely disgusting. Yeah, I'd like to know if he punched him while he was hog out. That because maybe he was doing it on purpose. I mean, clearly the guy was doing this on purpose. There was no.
I think that was his method. I don't think. How often do you deviate from your general method?
Yeah, but like, are we assuming that this guy was so oblivious that it just kept happening?
You know,
I think this was deliberate.
Oh, he was trying to assert dominance, or
no?
Or
I think that maybe it was part of the process for him.
Oh, he wanted to.
Yeah, he wanted an audience. He left the door open.
It's a good point.
Who leaves their door open?
Yeah, no, door closed, door locked, lights off. Total shame. Get in and out.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any others?
Oh yeah, we got another.
We got another one.
All right, losers. This is my phone message. Listen to you all the time, but I gotta ask you, if you had a pseudo or whatever fake name on Twitter or InstaSnap or whatever the people use, what would yours be? You can, Rack of Tits is taken, Chester is taken,
That's just a name.
Dick Navis is taken. Just in case you're wondering what a Dick Navis is you swap the first letter of your first name with the first letter of your last name, and bam, there's your name. So that's what mine is, because it's kind of badass. I don't know what you two losers would be, but I'd be curious to listen to what your pseudo name would be on the radio show, or podcast, or whatever you call this. Shit you guys put together. I do enjoy listening to it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
That's nice.
Thank you. I mean, Rack of Tits is easily the greatest one.
You know what? It's the greatest because he also has the profile picture linked in with it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
so blunt and to the point that it's like, and when you see his comments and the things that Rack says, it's like, oh, this plays exactly into his personality. There's no nuance about it. I kind of appreciate the lack of nuance.
Yeah. You either have to go super nuance or no nuance. Here's the bit is what you are, you're seeing the entirety of the bit of Rack of Tits 69. I'd probably go with Cock Michaels. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
The bread ambassador, Mr. Rocket Arm. But those two are probably too self-serving. Cock Michaels is still the 1 seed. Watley United Methodist Church is one I might go with because my childhood church was Wesley United Methodist. Watley for Fez Watley, obviously.
Okay.
And then if I really wanted to get nerdy with it, it'd probably be Sean D. D with a period after it, D in quotes, Anderson. And that's just a one-piece reference. So, Cock Michaels 1, Watley United Methodist 2, Sean D. Anderson 3.
Cock Michaels is a good one. I use that a lot when I go bowling.
I
do.
Oh, Cock Michaels.
I do Cock Michaels when I go bowling on the board. I could always just go Sean Anderson, right?
Oh yeah.
Am I allowed to do that? Can I just go
bird?
Sean Anderson? At Sean Anderson 65.
It doesn't help that the pseudo burner name for my name is also you could phonetically spell Sean tons of ways. My friends do it often in very irritating fashion.
To mess with you.
CHAUGNE and then in parentheses G is silent. Like that just crushes me. But there's tons of ways to get around it. So there could be a lot of variations of Sean Anderson.
See, you had time to think this one through. This one I would need some time to like.
I'm trying to think what you would be passionate about doing shtick on a burner shtick. Like I would top of my head, I'm like, it'd be some anti-Daniel Jones Twitter profile.
No, I kind of like the bit where these guys, like it's like a LinkedIn profile almost. Like I'd put CPA at the end of it, probably.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Or MA.
So you just want to be a fake. Like
or no, wait, what is
MS?
What's the one for? I always know whenever some idiot goes to business school, they always put that this
MB, right? Wait,
no. I feel like you should know this. I feel like if we weren't stupid, we would know this.
Well, we didn't.
But I put CPA at the end. I'd probably put CPA.
I like the idea.
Certified accountant.
I do like the burners that make it look like it's just a real person,
like
from a town that's working a non-burner job. Like I think that's smart. It's an old person avatar, a lot of different numbers. Like it looks like it's a bot name, but he's obviously posting ridiculously based things, very inappropriate things. But you'd think it's freaking Mr. Conklin from down the street is what the image that is being purveyed there.
Right. Yeah, I think I put CPA at the end of it, but I don't know what the hell else I would do for my first and last name.
I don't know. What do you do?
I'm not creative enough.
I don't know if you'd be like I don't know what your bit would be. It wouldn't be like Dr. Protein, Dr. Macro.
No.
Slappy? Something slappy? You like to slap your foot around. You like
something slappy, something slappy CPA.
You wouldn't dare be Slappy Jones CPA.
So Slappy Jones CPA is pretty good. I like Slappy Jones.
Okay, Slappy Jones works. There we go.
I decided. At Joe DeLeone and at Sanderson Radio, please call in. Those were awesome. This is why I like the phone calls. That was the best hack bag that we've done in weeks because we got some real callers. 201-834-4308. Thank you for the two individuals who did call. Please call in. Less masturbating stories, please.
That's a Joe request. I will.
You want more masturbating
I would
stories?
Take more.
Just don't call while you're masturbating. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that at Hack City Pod. Hit subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed tuning in. We'll talk to you later.